Hello, welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is day 12 of Vlogmas. And before we open up the fiber and the yarn, I'm going to tell you a little bit about today's trip. I'm going to take you over to Eisenhower Farm. So if you're not aware of it, President Eisenhower, he was the 35th or 34th president. I'm getting my notes out because he's before my time. Anyway, he was the 34th president of the United States. And in 1915, Eisenhower and his newly married wife, Mamie, lived in Gettysburg, and Dwight D. Eisenhower actually ran Camp Colt, which was a training area for tanks. Who knew? I did not know this. I live in this town. Did not know that this was a training area for tanks in 1915. Unfortunately, they had, I think it was over 1,000 people that were troops there died from the influenza in like between 1916 and 1918. So at that point the camp was shut down. But the Eisenhowers liked the area so well that in 1950 he actually purchased some property, an old dilapidated farm over here in Gettysburg. It's just on the outskirts of Gettysburg off of Business Route 15. It is open to the public. It's owned by the National Park Service now. If you're interested in actually seeing the house, this was kind of fun. You can actually go over to the National Park website and you can take a virtual tour. You can actually use like a 3D tour, and it's fun. You can look at the floor plan and you can actually go in and look at the rooms. It's like a time capsule to the 1950s, and the pink that Mamie loved, there's pink all over the place. So anyway, they purchased this dilapidated farm. It was 189 acres at the time that they purchased it, and it had numerous chickens and cows and all that kind of thing on the property. Dwight installed a putting green. It had crops, and they also raised Angus cows for beef. So as I said, they purchased it in 1950, and they paid $40,000 for it, which was minuscule at the time. It's the equivalent of like 400 and some thousand now, which is still cheap for that amount of property and the size house that it is. It's a fairly good sized house. But the house was in bad shape because parts of it was built in the 1700s and parts of it were built in the 1800s. It had not apparently been taken care of, and so they actually had to tear down some of the old building because it was so far gone. So parts of it were completely rebuilt, parts of it were restored, and they were able to go and live in it for the first time in 1955. This would have been while he was president, and they would spend weekends up here in Gettysburg and visit the shops and things like that. Some of the locals remember him coming in and her coming into stores and things like that. Yeah, some famous people who actually went there and stayed there was Nikita Khrushchev was there, Charles de Gaulle, Winston Churchill, and Ronald Reagan when he was a governor of California. So it's seen a lot of history over the years. And I did not go into the building at that point. I just drove down to where the parking lot was and took pictures of the house. But I'm going to insert that footage so that you can check it out for yourself. Well, I'm sitting in McDonald's with a small fry, unsweetened tea, my knitting, and waiting for Dave to call. And right across the way here, you can see part of the battlefield. You're not allowed to film in the battlefield, so I'm in McDonald's. But that's just a small portion of the battlefield. So now we will get on to our fiber and yarn of the day. So today is day 12, and the lighthouse is a real tall one. You can see that's when you look at the buildings in the background here, you can see this is a very tall, so it might be for ocean. The taller lighthouses do tend to be for the oceans. So let's take a peek at what's inside. So today's fiber is green. So there you can see it. Kind of a pea green. Reminds me of split pea soup, but pea green. Now let's take a look at which mini skein we got for today. Oh, this was pretty fall-like colors. There you can see that. I had another one earlier on that was like a little bit more muted tones than this, but they were the same kind of fall colors. So very pretty. So that is the video for today. Make sure you come back tomorrow because I am going to be doing a tutorial on how to attach fuzzy fur to your sleeves of your long winter coat, because my sleeves are too short. So we're going to do this together. So that's tomorrow's video. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye everybody.